Bringing you 10 minutes of morning calm this morning. And today we're looking at the wonderful human propensity to fool ourselves. And we do it all the time. This is not a guilt trip. This is a welcome to the human journey trip. We all have those things where we tend to fool ourselves, where we create rationalizations, we justify behavior, some of which is pretty light and some of which is maybe a little more serious. But it's good for us to just take time to take a look at that and take a look at that in our spiritual lives. And what we've been following is been following the biblical story here of Abram, which is journey to the promised land. And he runs across these fearsome giants. And again, see this as a beautiful poetic truth. And these giants are those persuasions of justification, rationalization, that can really kind of be pretty deadly to our spiritual lives in a lot of ways. And this is a piece of New Church theology uh, where it talks about what we tend to do when that happens. This is read it for you here. When we convince ourselves that our own personal advantage is good for everyone, when we feel that nothing contributes to the larger good unless it also contributes to our own profit. People who identify all self-interest with the common good or disguise it as the common good do the same in the other life with the common good there. So it's a beautiful way to kind of see it. The challenge here that it's talking about is when we take the common good and instead we substitute that for our own good. We think, no, it's really all about me. It's really about what do I get out of this situation. There's no greater sense of purpose. And again, folks, that may sound sort of trite, like of course, but look at all the parts of dialogue in our culture today that have really broken down because we've lost this idea of the common good, because we've lost this idea that you're coming from this perspective, I'm coming from this perspective, that is fine and as it should be. And we need to keep the common good in mind. I mean, we just look at our political situation. I think most of you watching this would think, yep, you know what, we have clearly lost the plot around common good, around a higher sense of service, around solving problems. And that's from whatever political perspective people come from. I think that's a pretty justifiable editorial comment on today's society. And we need to, like we constantly come back and say, no, it's actually about the common good. It's not about substituting what is just good for me and mine. It's about how do we look towards the common good. And again, beautiful part from a Christian New Church perspective, it's not asking you to jettison what your perspective is. It's actually asking you to bring that to this journey towards the common good. Simple example, it's like a really good musical instrument, right? You don't want to jettison that, to serve in the orchestra. That's an obviously not going to work. But you want to find a way to have that instrument be part of this bigger thing, this bigger song, this bigger music. And how do we do that? And this is one I've been thinking about a lot because we have a small group coming up where we're going to talk about a lot of this. It's where we are able to ask the question, not what do I want, but what am I responsible for here? And I think that idea, moving away from wants to responsibilities, I think that really starts to shift things. And that is a very sobering question. It's very easy to say, what do I want? Well, what I want is more of this, more of that, power, prestige, possessions. I think that's the human ego. But responsible for, that's a different question. And what are we truly see ourselves responsible for? Do we see ourselves responsible in our communities for a certain thing? Do we see ourselves responsible for things like a church or a synagogue or a mosque? Do we see ourselves responsible for an educational institution? Do we see ourselves responsible for any other form of nonprofit that might be something that lights your heart up? I think those are the real questions, and those get us beyond the question of want into responsibility. And those move us back, they slide us very gently back into the stream of serving the common good. Because that's where, again, your instrument, as it were to say, your part in the orchestra, that music note you hear, you'll hear it over here, whatever that might be, and then you serve into the common good there. And it's beyond just what we want. It's much more about what we're responsible for. So that's the thought for today, folks. Continue to think about wants versus responsibilities. And I also, if this conversation interests you, really would urge you to join us Still plenty of time to join us for a small group we have launching next week at New Church Live. It's on the book, Life Worth Living. We will send you the book. We also have a Cliff Notes version of the book if you don't get to reading it, which is totally fine. And it's a way we're going to be wrestling with some of these questions, taking a look at them, wrestling with them, thinking about how we can leverage it, how we can think about what is life worth living, and really answer that through the lens of what are we called to be responsible for, not just what do we want. So that is the thought for today, folks. I hope that makes a lot of sense to you and yours. And what we're going to do now, as we always do, we're going to take a minute here and just like shift. And the shift is one of just peace, a little quiet, a little inner stillness, a little meditation. And the way we do that is we ring a prayer bell. We do a little meditation. We do a prayer. We do a blessing, and we close by saying hi to folks on social media. So with that, friends, let's get a little breath. Listen to the prayer bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his face upon you, bring you peace, bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's give a little cheery hello to those joining us on social media here. See how all of you are doing. All right, Linda, good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. Kim, and I love that morning all. Very true. Teresa writes, good morning, and good morning to you, Teresa. Great book. Yes, agreed. Linda writes, what are we responsible for? Great question. Thank you for stirring the thoughts. Have a good day. And that really is one, Linda. Boy, that just yields so much conversation. And it just shifts it, because we all have that idea of, yeah, this is what I feel God's calling me to be responsible for. And it's a much better question. We've had a lot of little technological glitches today. All right. So I'm going to have to, there's some other comments out there that I want to get to, but unfortunately I cannot get to them on my phone right now. So I will be doing those in longhand written form. So anyways, folks, wishing you the very best. And we close with a little thank you and a little reminder about helping us out financially here at New Church Live, so we can keep the doors open, the lights on, and the live stream going. Like our content? It's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustaining supporter of New Church Live today. All right. Take care, my dear friends. Have a wonderful day.